This video is the first in a series which I like to call
Best Arcade Games
1980s. Everyone remembers the humongous 4-player arcade games of the early 90s. Simpsons, one of my other favorites, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Avengers, X-Men. There weren't many times I remember from my youth when I actually had all 4 spots filled at one time, so usually it was just me. But let's go back in time even further, back to the time when I was nearly born. 1985, a fantabulous year. The game in question, Gauntlet. Its current status, legendary. One of the very first arcade games to ever break the 2-player stereotype. You have the choice between 4 characters: warrior, elf, Valkyrie, and a wizard. Much like Super Smash TV, and probably a pretty good originator, Gauntlet plays on a top-down perspective. There isn't much variation in terms of differences between players, except that Elf's arrows shoot slightly faster than the other projectiles, and the warrior obviously is the most powerful. The premise is simple. You run around in a maze-like environment, shooting all kinds of baddies, whilst trying not to get your ass kicked. Along the way you can collect keys, potions, treasure, foods, and drinks. Obstacles come in the form of ghosts, grunts, demons, loppers, evil wizards, and even death itself. Gauntlet is unique among its other 4-player brethren in that when you drop a quarter, you get more life, instead of having a life bar or, say, a life bar plus 2 extra lives. There's no music during gameplay except for the single jingle that comes at the title screen or during stage transition. I've heard this is because the developers didn't have room to fit the music in the game's hardware, but I'm not sure, maybe that was just a rumor. The game celebrates its 27th anniversary this year, so let's remember some classic one-liners from the grandfather of 4-player arcade machines.
Come on, maybe destroy it. Warrior is about to die. I've not seen such bravery. A hidden potion.
One of the most infamous facts about Gauntlet is that there's no end to the game. After a certain stage, the game just randomly starts generating levels. I've always wondered how far someone ever got playing in the arcades. Miss Pac-Man. Fellow gamers may give me shit for this, but I don't really care. I like Miss Pac-Man. I like it better than the original. What? What is this you say, Aaron? How could you commit such blasphemous epitaphs? Yep, I'm doing it all the way, all day this time. During the Pac-Man mania that was everywhere, there came the idea to create a spin-off in order to attract more female players. The result was Pac-Man with a bow, lipstick, and eyelashes, which was kind of confusing because eyelashes denotes eyes, which would mean that Miss Pac-Man has eyes, but Pac-Man doesn't. The majority of the reason why I like Miss Pac-Man over the original is the slight boost in gameplay speed, and the fact that the fruit moves around the maze instead of staying in the middle. It's like the fruit is alive! Plus, this game features short, fun little movies after each third stage in the beginning of the game. Also, unlike the previous Pac-Man game, Miss Pac-Man uses different maze layouts for different stages, which I think was a good addition because running the same maze over and over and over just gets a little too boring. I mean, I know it's Pac-Man, but you gotta have a little diversity in there somewhere. Time Pilot. We all know one of the first games that started it all. Asteroids. The simple game where you shoot a bunch of space debris while remaining stationary in the middle of the action. Much like Space Invaders, which is another classic, Asteroids has been copied ad infinitum. Not the game itself per se, just the gameplay elements. One of the top 5 just happens to borrow from this exact game, Time Pilot. Released in 1982 by Konami, it's one of the first arcade games I ever remember playing. The premise is you're a spaceship from the future, and you go back in time to 1920 and begin fighting evil waves of attacking enemies, larger airships, and boss planes. You can also collect parachuting people, I guess. These turn out to be your fellow pilots that probably got their asses kicked and need you to come save them. After you destroy the boss airship, your ship warps to a new time while moving towards the future. There are 5 times in total, with the final stage sending you to the year 2001. I like the game because, like most 80s games, it's simple. Plus, the sound effects are instantly recognizable to any gamer. The kick-ass warning sound that comes up when an enemy squadron comes on screen, that's just freaking awesome. Mr.Do. Yay! Who doesn't love Mr.Do? If you raised your hand, then stop watching my review right now, asshole. Just kidding. What's so great about this funny little clown digging around for cherries? Because it's a funny little clown running around collecting cherries. That's pretty much all there is for it. It's very lively though, with all sorts of happy sounds and colorful graphics. Firstly, we've come to the end. The end of all ends, in my opinion, for the best 80s arcade game. This is easily many people's favorite, me included. The cross between a single spaceship versus wave after wave of attacking space bugs. Why, it's only one of the greatest arcade games of all time! Galaga! This game is a seminal title in the annals of gaming. The sounds, the graphics, the gameplay. I still play this game if I can find a machine. They even have one where I used to do my laundry. Lucky me. Okay, I'll admit I did use the non-shooting glitch trick in order to get over 400,000 points on a single quarter. But, you know, sometimes your laundry takes a lot longer to dry than most people assume. Overall, these are my top 5, and obviously aren't official by any measurement. When people get into discussions about games I played growing up, especially in arcades or before the NES was widespread, these are the games I think of. It was back during an early time before the NES, so these types of games brought you and your friends together for a little fun. In the end, these are my top 5 favorites, and I still play them today. They're classics that never get old. Thanks for watching. Go check them out.